When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Dave Kaufman. You can follow me on Twitter at The Kaufman Show. And Journalism School in Canada has offered a new course on Black reporting after thousands have signed a petition. Let's find out if Concordia's journalism school should be doing something similar. Bring in Professor Aphrodite Salas. Good morning, Aphrodite.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. I appreciate your time this morning, and I thought it was really cool to see that Ryerson has developed this initiative. We just had a conversation a few minutes ago about how the Black community in Canada is underrepresented in the corporate world,
Yes.
and I relayed that to what we were seeing after the killing of George Floyd. In the journalism world, where the same Black voices seemed to be, every time you flipped on your television or radio, it was the same Black voices speaking over and over again. And this led to a conversation about how we need to enlarge the voices that we're hearing. We need to have more Black producers. We need to have a better ability for these stories to be told.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Concordia's journalism school recognizes 100% that, first of all, right now we have to affirm, and we feel it's an important moment to affirm that we absolutely stand in support of all people impacted by systemic racism, and that we will do better to address deeply ingrained forms of racism in the education of young journalists and in terms of hiring and all of these things. The department actually has a great history of work in this area. Linda Kay, I don't know if you remember Linda.
She taught me. I loved Linda. She was wonderful.
She was a pioneer, a real champion of gender and diversity in journalism, and she created a course, a gender and diversity course, years ago. And we're actually, as a department, we are renewing that course, and it's going to have a focus on racism and gender, and it's going to explore issues related to First Nations, LGBTQ plus identity, religion, disability, class, geographic bias, and the practice of journalism. So that's absolutely something that we're working together as a department on right now.
Aphrodite, can you tell us a little bit about the documentary that you made with Concordia students last year?
Yeah, it was really a beautiful experience. I took 5 of my students to Northern Ontario, to a wonderful place, Gull Bay First Nation, to it started off as an experiment in mobile journalism. So I took them up to tell a story of climate energy, climate leadership. But then it turned into something different. I realized that we were doing journalism differently partway through the project. Just in terms of taking time and building relationships, it was really a fascinating kind of evolution. And as that kind of went on, we realized that what we were doing was actually it seemed more like a project of studying how reconciliation in the media can evolve. And so we went up to Gull Bay First Nations on two different periods of time, in October 2018 and then August 2019, and we created a short documentary and multimedia project that we fronted on CTV. So that was I'm going to be expanding that work,
cool.
And I've actually started making plans for 3 more projects in 3 more communities, 1 First Nation, 1 Métis, and 1 Inuit community, and I'll be researching conciliatory journalism. So following in this vein of what we can do to kind of increase our efforts at building relationships and building bridges to ultimately, strengthen the education that we're giving in the department as a whole.
We're coming up on the 30th anniversary of the Oka crisis, Aphrodite, and I try to step outside of this and look at it from, from 500 feet up, and
Yes.
see how Canadian journalists have failed in
Oh,
telling an even keeled story over the last 150 years of the history of our country.
yes.
Um, I think there's no question that journalists have a service to do to tell the stories. There isn't always a both sides to a story like the Oscar crisis, is there?
Look, the most important thing we have to recognize is that Canadian journalists have actually, overall, have done a bad job at reporting on Indigenous issues over the past 125 years. That's one thing that we need to recognize. And the way to move forward involves hiring more Indigenous people as reporters, as news managers, as faculty members. This is the way we have to move forward, but we also have to educate ourselves as non-Indigenous reporters on all kinds of Indigenous issues. So that's really important. That's what the Truth and Reconciliation Commission came up with 5 years ago when they
Hmm.
talked about media and reconciliation. So it's a process, and I think there are two sides or many sides to every story. In fact, and it's if we're really going to move forward in healing, which is the way I use that word reconciliation, is coming together in a spirit of healing, then it has to be in a way where we are recognizing the legacy of 125 years of colonial practice and move forward from there.
On July 1st, 2017, my hero, Gord Downey, said this: now we begin a new 150 years, and we leave behind the first 150 years, the
Yes.
ones with the one big problem of trying to wipe out our Indigenous people, to take their minds and hearts, to give them the choice to become white or to get lost. It's time to listen to the stories of the Indigenous. We are blessed as a country to look to the wisdom of a really old country. Are we failing in that attempt?
I think we have failed in that attempt for many, many years, and I think that there are people in this country that are trying to move forward. I think this is something that is going to take a long time. You can't undo 150 years in 1 year, but what you can do is, and this is why I love my job so much,
Hmm.
because even if I'm just taking 5 students at a time or teaching 30 students in a workshop class at a time, um, that, to me, I'm hoping that's what makes a difference, right? Because it's with every person who has a new experience, a different experience. That's kind of how you evolve, right? At least that's what I hope. But just knowing that you can't change things overnight. You need to change things step by step. And I think a lot of people in Canada are thinking about this and trying to understand how we can all do better. So I try to err on the side of we're working. Everybody's trying to work together, right?
Aphrodite Salas, assistant prof at the Department of Journalism at Concordia. Thank you for your time this morning, and thank you for bringing up Linda Kay, who I have. I was so sad when she passed away. She was such a huge part of why I am where I am today, and it's great to know that her legacy lives on at Concordia.
It truly does. Thank you so much for your kind words.